What is up, dudes? It is Monday, July 1, 5:19 p.m. Eastern. Markets are closed. July is kicked off. Second half of the year is kicked off, and we're entering Q3, baby. Plan is for today, I'm going to go through all the tickers I have here listed. Going to mix between the monthly and the weekly, and just let you guys know what I'm seeing. But I would say everything looks healthy, everything looks good from a bigger picture perspective. And we'll start with URA, right? We'll zoom right into the weekly here. And I mean, we're still kind of in this accumulation cylinder, if we want to call it that. We're above monthly defined support. And we got our time cycles here at the bottom. And so, again, I love that we have a green candle to kick off this week. And we're still kind of finding, hopefully, a cycle low here, late July. That's what I'm thinking. I'll zoom in on the daily just to get a little bit more detailed there. But you can see, we're kind of rounding out, it begins to look like, right? So I think all looks good here on the weekly especially. You love to get support where you want to see support. So all looks good there. We'll go over to URNM. Different looking chart here. Very similar though, but you have this kind of upwards channel, which I'm kind of tracking, and that is kind of in line with what CCJ is doing, believe it or not. But all looks good here again. We could probably have some support lines here, but I'm going to keep it pretty clean for today. And URNM looks good so far. Same with URNJ. This is a little bit, I would say, less clean, but there is some structure to it. So we'd love to get a bounce here with URNJ. I'll wait for CCJ. We'll go to U.UN, and here's what I'm seeing. Some sort of wedge formation. You may also have an ABC here. A, B, C. Probably going to make a lower low here, and then hopefully that could be the bottom here. Kind of fake some people out and then get loaded. Here's UX1 uranium futures, clear breakout line that we have to get above, and just a matter of time, I think, before we continue higher. Then we'll look at uranium measured in gold, the metal measured in gold. Still got some work to do here to clear this resistance. But again, let's just give this time. And then we have URA over U.UN, which is kind of a proxy for the metal. And this looks really, really good, guys. We'll zoom out to the monthly here. That'll bring our little Kickoff image in. And you can kind of see, if we can get above this little support resistance line, that could really be a good thing in terms of what Kickoff has in mind for the next phases or events of this particular accumulation pattern, if it is, right? But it looks really, really good. Over to URA, measured in the S&P 500. We'll zoom in a little bit here on the weekly. And again, here's kind of what I'm seeing is that like A, B, C pattern. A little bit of a correction. And it looks like, did we breach that low? I'm not quite sure, but we also have maybe a mini bull here, guiding price. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that. But ultimately, it looks like a big ascending triangle, and would love to see URA start really outperforming the S&P 500. That would really add some rocket fuel to this thing. Also, URA measured in gold. So the basket of uranium equities measured in gold. We can maybe throw this on there. This bowl here, the blue bowl, is really for the monthly. Because if we throw our moving average on, it kind of follows the moving average. So it's kind of a nice support line, if you will, generally speaking. And then, we may have an outer bowl here. But again, a little bit of a correction. We've seen URA both against the S&P and gold. But if we start turning up here, it could be really, really nice for us in the coming months and quarters. Over to NVIDIA, measured in CCJ. A good ratio to kind of see, okay, what's winning? Is it AI or is it uranium? So I think NVIDIA and CCJ are good representations of both of those sectors. But I've also kind of found this little ABC structure overlaid here. So we'll have to see. We'll keep our eye on it. But if we get, here, I'll kind of just map this out. A, B, C. And then you can see there's also a little one. We'll go onto the weekly here. Kind of have another like ABC pattern right here. So what I'm saying is, if we're able to get below this A, that could be a really good indicator that, hey, we're actually about to come back down. Something like that. And that would be really good for CCJ measured in NVIDIA, right? We want CCJ to be outperforming NVIDIA if we're favoring uranium. So we'll keep our eye on that. But again, that could be, a 5-wave move to the upside. If we get below that A, I would expect CCJ to outperform. We'll look at Apple measured in CCJ. And again here, when Apple breaks out comparatively to CCJ, it did in June of 07, that marked the top for CCJ. And I'll just add that here just so you guys know what I'm talking about. Put it in a log scale. But that essentially was the top for CCJ. So I think, if this is going to round out or maybe continue down, we'd love for CCJ to outperform Apple. So we want the candle chart to go down and the orange to really go up ultimately. But once this crosses that horizontal breakout line, maybe some out here in later 2020s, that could mark the top for CCJ. So something I'm just keeping my eye on for you guys. And then we got Bitcoin measured in CCJ. Interesting pattern we have here. We're kind of just bouncing sideways in between the support resistance. We want to either break down in favor of CCJ or it'll break up in favor to Bitcoin. So again, we'll keep our eye on it. Last for the ratios, we have Apple measured in URA. Got this from Casper or UseLink on X. And you see here, like down move, rising wedge or bear flag, another down move. Potentially we're retesting that which is now resistance here. But ultimately we have another trend line that we'd want to get below. We'll see where the 3-year moving average is. Yep, so we're just above that now. We'll bring some momentum into play. And looks like we have a little bit of a resistance here we'd have to get through. So we want this to go down for URA. And yeah, we'll keep our eye on it. All right, so CCJ here. I'm just going to focus on the price today. We'll drop into the weekly. Again, I got my time cycles here. I might move this and just move this lower on the screen, but again, it really matches up. There's a really good rhythm in the uranium market, and CCJ is really following that to a T. That being said, you saw that. We'll go back to URNM. And you kind of see this upward sloping trend line. CCJ, it's a little bit as defined here as well. Might be a different time here, but that's okay. We still have a similar look. We want to stay in this trend line, the big one, this one. And yeah, we're expecting a cycle low this month, late this month. So again, I would love to kind of see a green candle here and really push us up more. Paladin. So Paladin. What are we going to do about Paladin? It broke this trend. There's only 2 touch points, one down here and one right here. It was looking really clean. And I mean, maybe we have some support right here. Maybe it's kind of what URA was doing. It's kind of that accumulation cylinder. I actually really like the look of that. So, whether this trend line holds or not, maybe it's a fake out, maybe it's not, maybe we continue going sideways, we'll see. But this is the state of the union right here with Paladin right now. Kind of a similar story with Bannerman, except we're still within our arc and this trend line, this upward sloping channel. We could also maybe do that. I mean, if these are Livermore accumulation cylinders, this is a big deal. Like that's falling wedge breakout into a Livermore accumulation cylinder in a huge arc. We'll zoom out a little bit from Bannerman. We're right on support here. Right at 331 is monthly defined support. So we're above that at 325. And yeah, we'd love to close the month above this support. Over to FSY. So FSY is kind of taking a beating, honestly. But again, we zoom out. We can get more shares now. That's kind of the idea, right? So not financial advice, but let's see if we have some more monthly support. I mean, we kind of have it right in here. Brighten this up a little bit too. So again, we're kind of just bouncing. Looks like we could be bouncing in between here, but building the energy for the next leg up. Still like FSY. Deep yellow. We broke this trend line. We'll brighten that up a little bit. We're on the monthly. We're at a huge resistance line pretty much, besides this fake out. So this is a crucial point. There's a horizontal resistance and a downsloping resistance. I'm gonna brighten all these up for you guys. Sorry if you can't really see them. Oh boy. Bear with me here. So I think, we're still in decent shape. Yeah, we broke a little bit of a trend line, but we'll see if this arc can provide support. There's some really solid touch points on this arc, and we'll see where the 3-year moving average is. Yep, we're still above that, so I would expect more upside, just maybe a little bit of some chop here, you could call it. On the open seas, Denison Mines DNN on the monthly looks really good. We're above key support resistance. We'll go in on the weekly here. And man, it's just doing its thing. Kind of similar look to Paladin and Bannerman. You may have another trend line coming up like this. And man, I'm seeing more and more of this accumulation. Upwards accumulation is, I think, a powerful thing. It's a powerful drug. So a lovely bounce right here so far to begin July on Denison. Over to Lotus. We'll zoom out on Lotus. Not too much data here to work off of, but we broke this trend line, so we're going to remove that for now. We could maybe find another trend line somewhere in here, and we could consolidate a little bit for Lotus. Another one I added to the list was CGN Mining, and this thing has gone bonkers. I mean, absolutely bonkers. Very clean monthly resistance that we broke out and retested at about $1.50, and today we're at $2.60. So it's definitely on my radar, but I think this thing may have to cool off just a little bit for me to get excited about it. You could have a little bit of a bull flag or a wedge here on the weekly. So we'll go in on the daily, see where we're at. Interesting. It could be a falling wedge. It also kind of gives me a little of a head and shoulder vibe, which would then force it to cool off for a little bit. But on the bigger picture, it looks really good. It just may need some time to cool off. I mean, it's done, general statement, 230% from September 1 through June. It's a pretty good run. Holy cow. But it's on our list. I think it's in the A player category for good reason, right? But we'll see if this wedge holds or not. Making our way down the list, we'll look at Encore on the big picture monthly time frame. Encore Energy. Trying to keep this as simple as possible. Upwards channel, couple of rails in the middle. We consolidated into it, found support. We're continuing to consolidate and go sideways. We want to break out over this horizontal monthly defined resistance, which is right at 690. We'll zoom in on the weekly. I mean, just still looks like a cup and handle to me, right? Big cup, and now we're working some sort of handle maybe. Like the look of that one, but whoops. All right, let's pick up the pace here a little bit. Boss Energy, breakdown out of a wedge. I think just has to go sideways. I'm not sure if maybe we can look at momentum here. Yeah, so we're going to find, I think, a bottom in momentum here coming up. There's only 2 touches on this thing. We may have another one in here, kind of like that, if you will. So I think Boss Energy could become very attractive soon. We want to see this kind of build the energy. Maybe a bull flag in the making. It's still too early to tell here. All right, let's look at ISO. ISO is kind of not boring, but it's a big formation. It's got to break out of this one, which is at like 490 right now. So it still needs more time, I think. But again, if we start going up, keep your eye on ISO. Over to Alligator Energy. Big move up, big bull flag. And this looks a lot like Elevate Uranium, but I'll get to that in a moment. And so we can also, is there a wedge there? I don't know. I kind of like to keep it really big picture stuff, but it looks really good. It's just kind of taking its time, right? Over to UEC. Again, all healthy things, UEC. We're in an upward sloping channel. Looks like we're doing some sort of bull flag or sideways consolidation, build the energy for wave 3 of this bull market, which should be a huge wave, and we're right at monthly resistance, right? So I've been saying this whole time on UEC that I kind of just think of this as one big base. And so monthly resistance right in here, that's where we're at today. You know, we want this trend line to hold, this trend, and that could be a really good buy candidate, UEC. And it's a leader of the pack. It could remain a leader. Over to next gen, we've got a momentum breakdown, consolidation, reset with moving average. So I think this moving average price is going to maybe meet this moving average, you know, maybe later this year, we'll see. We'll zoom in onto the weekly, we'll get the moving average off. And yeah, we're just kind of flagging similar to UEC. Over to Silex. Silex, we want to see this trend line hold. We're kind of at a double support, double resistance area if we go out to the monthly. Like there's a couple rails in the middle of this big channel, and we're playing with that as resistance, maybe making it support. And then we also have support coming up from this channel. So we want to see it hold. And if we get a green candle in Silex this month, I mean, this thing could be off to the races. Could be a 50 bagger in the making. Who knows? But yeah, I love Silex right here. Yellow cake on the monthly. Bull flag needs a little bit more time to figure its life out. And then ASPI is another one I've added to the mix. I'm kind of playing around with these time cycles as well. It seems to be following. I personally got into ASPI probably, first of the year, 2024. Broke out of this like inverse head and shoulders, made it support, and then I rode it all the way up here, and I'm honestly holding, which I don't know if it's the right call or not, but we also have like some sort of running flat, maybe like an ABC 3-wave move. We made a lower low here. Now we're above this A, which means I think we could potentially be running to the upside in the near future. So I really like ASPI as well. All right, this is going to be a long video, but I know you guys are in it for the long haul. So we'll look at Centrus. Centrus looks good. You know, we want this support to hold. Maybe we look at the weekly here on Centrus. I also think we may be doing some sort of A, B, C. So we'll see. I got a box here kind of ready to deploy if we need to. Elevate Uranium, not the kind of price action we wanted to see on Elevate, to be honest. We'll look over at the weekly. You know, there's another little ABC, correction of some sort. This was kind of a sharper move down. So Elevate does need a little bit more time. Before I said it's kind of similar to Alligator Energy in that it's kind of taking a longer time to consolidate. But I mean, I guess this could be some sort of expanding pattern, but I don't like it as much. So it just needs more time, Elevate, sorry to say. And then Sky Harbor, similar story. Maybe an ABC here as well. Into support. So I mean, if you're looking at Sky Harbor, if you want to acquire more shares than you otherwise would, now could be a decent time. All right, Laramide. Laramide is one of my personal favorites. On the big picture, this thing is beautiful. And let's zoom in on the weekly. I mean, we are just right in like a loading zone, the pocket loading zone where you want to be. We're kind of going sideways, maybe finding some support here, some sort of triangle, building a lot of energy, right? And we'll look at the momentum on Laramide. Kind of a lot going on here, but again, we want to break out of this horizontal and then this horizontal. All right, over to Mega Uranium, another one that just looks so damn beautiful and bullish, and it's falling wedges everywhere. We're going on to the weekly, and you have your completed, maybe not completed ABC, but you're coming towards the end of a wedge here in Mega. Could be a really good place to acquire some shares, at 31 cents, 32 cents, rather than up here at like 55 cents. So really like the look of Mega. Energy Fuels on the monthly, still consolidating. We have a bullish engulfing a couple months ago. If we zoom in on the weekly, It's building some energy here. It's doing something. You know, we got some higher lows all along this consolidation, and we want to break to the upside. Simple as that. All right, Can Alaska on the monthly. Another good looking stock. I mean, we're in this consolidation pocket. I mean, these are starting to kind of look really good from a bullish falling wedge perspective on top of a big resistance. These all look really good. And then Western Uranium. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place today, guys, but I hope you can bear with me. You know, we're riding up our arc. We're riding up the arc. It's as simple as that. We just want to give it some time, let us do its thing. For you, Roy, I'm going to go in on the weekly, and this just looks, again, falling wedge city over here. Falling wedge, bull flag. It's all saying the right things to us. If we can find it and analyze it correctly, I think we're going to do okay. Over to F3 uranium, maybe some sort of ascending triangle. Got to let this play out. Could be a good spot to be looking at, picking some extra shares up. Cap, let's extend this a little bit. Looks good. Sideways energy, building the energy to go higher. FCU, I want to say Paladin maybe acquired FCU. Maybe it was F3. I think it was FCU. But looking good. Looking good. Not much to say, honestly. We just got to get above 140-ish. Over to Global Atomic. It's just biding its time. It needs a little bit more time, but this could still be a good stock to own. Kind of an expanding wedge pattern. We want this support to hold. And then the laggards. BSK, still lagging. FMC it's a laggard, but it's also showing us some bullish structures, I will say. So let's keep our eye on FMC. We'll give that a yellow star here. And then AEC, Anfield Energy. From a momentum perspective, this looks like it's building momentum and could launch higher, and it's going to be above its moving average. So keep our eye on AEC as well. This could be a big one. And then Peninsula. Don't love the look of Peninsula. GoVX. Zoom in on the weekly on GoVX. It's just kind of puking, but it's making a lower low. Could be like a really big ABC, right? And then find base load doing a similar thing. But it could be also in a bull flag. It's just such a sharp move downward. So hope this was helpful for you guys. I think, you know, we're just staying the course. Stay the course. The charts look great. And enjoy your summer. Enjoy the 4th of July. I'll be out with a couple more videos this week, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Flash is out.